Whenever I buy something, the key question that I always ask myself is, will this add values to my life? And over the last 10 years, I've made some really amazing purchases, but also some bad ones. Today, I want to share with you the best and the worst things I've spent money on. And hopefully, it'll give you some ideas about how to make the best of your money. Let's start with the best things I've spent money on. And the first one is skincare. Now, it doesn't matter if you are a maximalist or a minimalist, or whether if you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s, we all appreciate healthy skin. Personally, I've had the experience of acne. After my pregnancy, I had very consistent breakouts on my chin for over a year. So I completely understand how our skin can impact the way we feel and the way we carry ourselves. This is why I religiously follow my skincare routine. And whenever I come across something that will benefit my skin, I will happily invest in it. In the last several months, I've been using this LED face mask by Foreo, and I've been loving it. This is really easy to use, so compact, and incredibly handy for people with a busy schedule. All you need to do is to put on the headband and you can then get on with your day while giving yourself a spa treatment. Personally, I like to do it when I'm editing my videos or replying to emails. And typically, I do it a few times a week and each treatment lasts for about 10 minutes. So far, this has been a great addition to my skincare routine, and I feel like I don't have to use as many skincare products because of this. You see, with this one LED face mask, you can actually get 8 different light therapies, so you can very much tailor the treatment to your skin. For example, red light is perfect for reducing wrinkles. Purple light is great for reducing hyperpigmentation, and yellow light is for calming down redness. Personally, I've mostly been using the blue light and the red light, and I really feel like my skin is so much smoother and more radiant. Not only that, whenever I get a spot, it goes away a lot quicker as well. So if you're also interested to invest in your skin, I have a very generous discount code for 30% off, so make sure to check it out. Another best thing I've spent money on is financial education. And guys, this one thing completely changed my life, and I can honestly say it's worth every single penny that I spend. I feel like financial literacy is more widespread now thanks to the internet, but when I first started working, I knew very little about personal finance. For a long time, I was under the impression that I just had to continue to work incredibly hard until I retired in my 60s. Luckily, somewhere along the way, I came across the FIRE community, which stands for Financial Independence and Retire Early. From there, I invested in a lot of books about investing and personal finance, and I even took courses about real estate and cryptocurrency. So I now have a framework about how to manage my money to make sure that my future is okay. To be honest, I feel like this really should be taught in schools, but it's not. So I'm just really glad that I made the decision to invest in my financial education. The next best thing I've spent money on is a curated and all-rounded wardrobe. In my opinion, spending some money to create a functional wardrobe is part of living a good life. The thing is, whenever we talk about bags, shoes, clothes, and anything to do with our wardrobe, a lot of people immediately think about fashion. But in reality, we need a functional wardrobe to support what we want to do in life. Think about it. Even if you're not into fashion, isn't it lovely to know that your shoes are well-made and well-fitting and that they can carry you very far? To give you an example, I used to dread the winter because it can get quite miserable here in the UK. But ever since I added some solid winter pieces to my wardrobe, like a jacket that keeps me warm, some cashmere scarves that make me feel cozy, I now enjoy the winter so much more. Not only that, now that I have those pieces, I actually don't feel the urge to keep shopping. So in the long run, it will also save time and money. Now, of course, a wearable and functional wardrobe will look very different depending on who you are, but it is worth the money to purchase pieces that will continue to serve you for a long time. In my context, this means spending a bit more to buy luxury items for certain categories in my wardrobe. and so far they have been worth the money. Another best thing I've spent money on is traveling. In the last 2.5 years, we went to Dubai, Maldives, Hong Kong, Japan, India, and America. And I really see those experiences as an investment for me as a human being. When you see firsthand the different cultures, heritage, and ways of life, it changes something in you in a good way. When we went to America in July, for example, we had the luxury of spending 4 days in the magnificent Grand Canyon. And for me, it was really the trip of a lifetime. We saw sunrise and sunset, we did stargazing, and I learned so much about the native people who have lived there for hundreds of years. Honestly, I feel emotional just talking about it because it is a blessing to have witnessed such beautiful landscape. And even though I'm home now, that trip continues to bring back memories. While I was there, I bought this little book. In here, there are some really inspiring messages and the beautiful pictures of the Grand Canyon. And whenever I have a bad day, I like to reach for this book because it really reminds me that life is good and there's so much beauty in the world to look forward to. So going forward, I hope to continue to experience different parts of the world because I do see it as an investment for my soul and my life. And now let's move on to the worst things I've spent money on. And the first one is everything that I bought because of the fear of missing out. In my 20s, I bought so many things because of FOMO. For example, years ago, the Sellier bags were really trending, and every store I went to, they were always sold out. So when I came across a Sellier nano bag in a bright red color, I was over the moon. Deep inside me, however, I knew red is not my color because I'm a very neutral person. So I asked the sales associate if she had one in black, and I remember so clearly that she said, "You will never ever see one in black because they sell out so quickly and we don't hold any Sellier bags for anyone." So what do you know? My fear of missing out took over and I bought the bag. I spoke about this before, but I never wore the bag. So after a few years, I decided to sell it. And even though the bag was in a brand new condition, I had to let it go at less than half the price. And that is just one of the many examples of the FOMO purchases that I had made. Another worst thing that I spent money on is a small collection of small leather good pieces. I went through a period where I was really into buying luxury small leather good pieces. For example, Louis Vuitton coin purses, pouches, and Hermes leather charms. The thing is though, these pieces were mainly for display. They looked adorable and lovely in theory, but I never had the time or the patience to change from one pouch to another, so it was actually quite pointless for me to have the same things in different colors. So why did I buy these pieces, right? Well, I think the reason was because of social media. You see, when I first started buying luxury handbags, I would watch a lot of YouTube videos, and a lot of the vloggers that I came across also had a lovely collection of small leather good pieces. And soon I started to aspire to the same thing, and I wish I hadn't because it was really just a waste of money in my context. And that brings me to the next worst things that I had spent money on. And this one is everything that I bought for my fantasy self. There was a time in my life where I was so miserable. I was always working and I had no time for myself or any hobby. Sometimes the stress was so overwhelming, and in those moments, I would imagine, what if my life was different? From there, I started buying things for a life that I aspired to, not the one I was living. So every time I came across someone who seemed like they had it all together, I wanted to own what they own. For example, high heels, nice dresses, a massive collection of bags and shoes, and so on. And guys, this really is the worst thing you can do with your money. If you're going to be spending your hard-earned money, you better be buying something for yourself and not anyone else. So if your daily outfits are quite casual, make sure you buy the best jeans and the most comfortable cashmere jumper, rather than a fancy dress that you don't ever get to wear. Do yourself a favor, embrace your own lifestyle, and you'll save a lot of money. And I just want to point out that making a bad purchase doesn't just cost you money, but also your time and energy. And that is what I find the most frustrating with my own worst purchases, because I feel like I've wasted so much precious time chasing things that didn't add values to my life. This is why I've been so intentional with what I buy, because I really want to use my resources to build a life that actually feels good to live. And now I want to hear from you. What's something you will never spend money on again, and something you will always invest in without any guilt? Drop it in the comments. That's it from me today. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, and I will see you soon.